The suspects were found loading luggage into their new Challenger.
Our detectives rolled up on them, blocked them in, put the handcuffs on them, and took them off to jail.
They're both in jail now, facing multiple felony charges.
In today's video, we're going to be going over one of the most popular topics, especially in the black credit space, and that is synthetic identity fraud, specifically CPNs. And I'm going to be giving you guys some examples. Now, unfortunately, in the black community, especially in the low-income black community, illegal activity is often looked as not that big of a deal. Things such as drug dealing, stealing, scamming, or even jacking and robbing. Now, what exactly is a CPN? I'll let one of the experts explain.
Now, what is a CPN? Just look at it as a secondary social security number, right? You have a secondary social security number, issues on your personal credit, or you may have bankruptcies, or you may have child support issues or something on your personal credit that's hindering you from being able to get credit or just use your personal social. So people are using CPNs in the place of those. And there are limitations on things that you can do with them, right? It's things that you can and can't do. Things I would suggest you do and things I would suggest you not do. A lot of people think, hey man, I can go do anything with my CPN, and that's not always the case.
Now, this is by far the most honest assessment of what a CPN is. Now, make no mistake, a CPN that a lot of people refer to is in fact a social security number. It's just a social security number that does not belong to you or is not assigned to you. So most common is going to be a social security number that belongs to a minor, someone who's incarcerated, someone who is deceased, or a social security number that has not been assigned. And that's usually the most popular way that people go about it, is determining whether or not a social security number has in fact been assigned. So for social security numbers that have not been assigned, so maybe someone who's not born yet, where the Social Security Administration would naturally assign that social security number, people have figured out ways of figuring out what social security numbers have not been assigned, using those and then calling it a CPN. Now, this gentleman does explain the main purpose that a lot of people use CPNs for, and typically is for people who have already messed up their own personal social security number. So the actual social security number that was assigned to them by the Social Security Administration. So this could be someone who has a lot of derogatory items, bankruptcies, child support. So people looking for a fresh start or second chance on being able to access credit. Now, indirectly, he did kind of hint to the fact that with a CPN or secondary social security number, there are things that you can and cannot do. Now, and this is also implying the fact that using a CPN or social security number that is not assigned to you is in fact illegal, because if it were 100% legal, why would there be things that you couldn't do?
Remains one of the top financial crimes in the world.
But as KSL investigator Matt Gephardt found, the crooks have figured out if you can't steal an identity, maybe just make one up.
We have to prove who we are all the time by providing things like social security numbers. But as was demonstrated to the KSL investigators, bad guys have figured it out, and it's leading to some pretty big paydays.
You are no doubt familiar with identity theft. A bad guy pretends to be you for various nefarious reasons. But identity theft can be a time-consuming pain for the crooks. They have to stalk you or hack you or trick you, to say nothing of the fact that we are getting more adept at spotting the frauds when they show up in our inboxes or online. So the crooks are also adapting. Why steal somebody's identity when you can just create your own?
You make up a fake person, trick the credit bureaus and financial institutions into believing that this fake person is real, and then use that fake person to steal money from financial institutions, launder money, or commit other kinds of financial crimes.
It's called synthetic fraud, and Naftali Harris with the security firm CentiLink says it is the fastest growing type of fraud in the U.S., accounting for nearly 85% of all ID fraud cases.
Don't go and actually do this. This is a felony, but it's surprisingly easy to do.
Now, we won't get into the nitty-gritty of it here, but suffice it to say it's easy and it's lucrative, because the crooks generally use these fake personas to target big banks with much deeper pockets than you and me. But before you shrug and say, well, that sounds like a big bank problem, Harris says make no mistake about who it is that is actually covering their losses.
When banks suffer losses, they increase rates and fees on their entire customer base to make up for it.
As financial institutions raise their guard, it's proving problematic for people who don't necessarily have established credit. Younger people, immigrants, people who applied to get a loan, the banks aren't really sure if they're real people, and they aren't able to get the money that they need.
So let's talk about the difference between identity fraud as well as synthetic identity fraud. So a lot of times people say that, oh, if you're using a CPN and you're not using someone else's actual identity, that it's not in fact fraud. But using a CPN is actually a form of synthetic identity fraud. So let's just go over what the differences are. So identity fraud would mean that you actually use someone else's name, their address, their date of birth, their social security number to open up accounts. So that's just flagrantly stealing someone else's personal information and using it to apply for credit, open up accounts, and things like that. Whereas synthetic identity fraud is in fact using a CPN or a secondary social security number, a social security number that does not in fact belong to you. Even if you're able to figure out a social security number that has not been assigned yet, that is still a form of identity fraud because you're misrepresenting who you actually are. And I think some people get that mistaken because they think that, oh, I didn't use a fake ID or I didn't use someone else's information, but you're using information that does not actually belong to you. Using a social security number that does not belong to you is actually synthetic identity fraud. Now, the thing with synthetic identity fraud is that it uses a combination of your real personal information as well as fake personal information. So usually this is going to be a separate social security number, but then you might use the same name, your same first and last name, maybe use a different address. And what people will do is that they will apply for credit. They'll get denied a couple times, right? But what happens is that it creates an actual record of this name, this social security number, this address, so these different identifying marks. And so what they do is they build up a credit profile using the combination of real as well as fake information. And that's how they're able to build up these profiles, adding trade lines, adding actual accounts. So in certain cases, it may take several years to really build up a synthetic identity profile using a CPN.
Suspect denied any credit card misuse, insisting on paying in cash. The officer, puzzled by the contradictory statements, pressed further. The truth began to unfold as the woman admitted to purchasing a person's entire profile, complete with personal information, from a mutual acquaintance.
I bought it from a girl up here, the profile from a girl in Atlanta. And that's it. Because she used like a profile, like a care credit or something she did. I used the girl's care credit. She used it. I didn't.
Who used it?
The girl Mary, she used me, she put me as an authorized dealer on her care credit.
Who's Mary?
Sloan.
What does she look like?
I met her up here. I just bought the care credit from her. I don't know, ma'am. I don't know about this. I just bought it because I wanted my teeth fixed.
You got her number in your phone?
No, I don't have her number.
So how did you get in touch with her?
One of my homeboys hooked me up with her.
Okay. So you never actually saw this person or talked to this person?
No.
Do you have any of the messages between you and your homeboy to prove that he the one who gave it to you?
I don't know.
68255.
All right, so let's backtrack. Did a male or female sell your profile?
Male.
Listen, keep it a buck with me. We already having this conversation. Did a male or female sell you this profile?
A female.
All right, a female.
Whoever
Do you know the female?
No, I don't. They got the number. No, the first number they used, that's who gave it to me.
Now, in this example, it sounds like this individual actually purchased a CPN from someone else and was able to then use a credit card, a care credit card, to get their teeth fixed. And so this is an example of synthetic identity fraud.
Two men from Detroit embarked on a cross-country crime spree that started when they boarded a plane here in Detroit headed for the Seattle area. When their plane landed in Washington state, police say it was clear this was a business trip.
They went to Nordstrom, they went to Foot Locker, they went to all these different stores. Plus, in the car, they found 17 brand new iPhones still in the package, 4 new Apple iWatches, and a Costco credit card with a credit limit of nearly $10,000.
But when they tried to buy a $51,000 Chevy Camaro,
and so the dealership contacted Bellevue police, and that really is what got the ball rolling.
Police say the suspects worked fast.
He successfully purchased a $64,000 Dodge Challenger.
But in doing so, created their own downfall.
but he used his own personal cell phone number, and that's how our detectives were able to track him down.
The suspects were found loading luggage into their new Challenger.
Our detectives rolled up on them, blocked them in, put the handcuffs on them, and took them off to jail.
They're both in jail now, facing multiple felony charges, giving police plenty of evidence and leaving plenty of lessons behind as well.
Put those alerts on your credit right now. Even go to the extreme of maybe freezing your credit, because identity theft, as you know, during this pandemic has been skyrocketing.
The two suspects from Detroit are expected back in court later this month.
Now, this example right here is what we would call identity fraud, because this individual literally used fake IDs, but they used someone else's name and credit profile. So pretty much what they did was they stole someone's personal information, or actually dozens of people's personal information. So their name, their address, their social security number, and all they basically did was create these fake IDs using their own picture, but someone else's information. So in this case, this would be considered identity theft. And the funny thing about it is that some people who say, okay, using the CPN is not technically identity theft, but it's a form of identity theft. Using the CPN doesn't make it any less illegal.
I'm gonna take all this one. Okay. All right, man. Appreciate you.
We're here at Unit 7 landmarks in reference to the entity subject for the 29 valid class B.
Thought it was odd. You're gonna go buy a car the next day after you meet her.
Yes, we got money. So I ain't think that I thought I caught me a female with some money.
A thorough search of the vehicle ensued, leading to the discovery of additional fake IDs and social security cards.
I keep my real one with me just in case.
Yeah, because that...
Oh, it's a fake ID.
That's fake too?
The same picture?
Yeah. Boy, we should realize, look.
Same pic? You know, her Georgia one came back to some white lady.
Oh, that came back to some white lady?
Yep.
Now, probably the most popular way of using a CPN is getting, let's say, high value vehicles. And one of the most popular ones are these Dodge Chargers and Hellcats. And so one thing you have to realize is that when you go into these dealerships, they're already aware of what's going on, because people are doing this every single day, or at least attempting to do this every single day. And what's extremely stereotypical is for, let's say, a black person to go into one of these dealerships trying to use one of these synthetic profiles, and they're trying to get a Dodge Charger, right? That's a huge red flag, because again, we know that's one of the most popular cars that a lot of people try to get. Overall, I would say just leave it alone, build your credit the organic way, so that way you don't have to worry about the cops rolling up on you, putting you in handcuffs, and taking you to jail.